just very late at night here on May 11th, 2016. It is after 11 p.m. and I'm trying to wind down from a long day. I myself today cleaned up the microwave oven in the kitchen, and I also cleaned out my pet guinea pig Ernie's cage. I then had to go out and travel down to Boston, to the Boston Center for Independent Living, where the monthly meeting of the Massachusetts chapter of the ADAPT Disability Civil Rights Organization meets. We meet on the second Wednesday of every month. Of course, I cannot say exactly what we discussed, but it was just simply issues with disability, civil rights, access to access to social services, and other related topics. And of course, afterwards, I traveled out of Boston. Of course, I always park my car at the Wellington Circle MBTA rapid transit / subway line. Get into downtown Boston without having to drive all the way into Boston. And besides the fact, there is really no parking anywhere down in the downtown crossing section of Boston. So the only option was just simply to take the MBTA public transit to get to where I needed to be today. Of course, after the meeting, that I took and went back to the Wellington MBTA station, and then I took and stopped at a Burger King burger joint on Massachusetts Route 38 in Somerville. The only thing I purchased there was just a deluxe bacon cheeseburger, a value-sized onion ring, and a value-sized Diet Coke, which is the cheapest that you can get. Have a halfway decent burger. Cheap burger, we get the lettuce, tomato, and whatever, so I then got back out onto Interstate 93 North, and then on my way up 93, traffic was backed up for miles in the northbound well, the northbound side of the I-93, there was a very bad multiple car wreck at the interchange of I-93 North and Massachusetts secondary Route 62 in North Reading. So it took me a while to return home, and of course with it I thought that I was going to be able to beat my brother home, but my little brother got home before I did, because my younger brother does work. He is a luthier, which is a maker of stringed instruments, while I, am retired on SSDI as an older adult with autism and cerebral palsy. And I've just checked my schedule, and tomorrow in the calendar I have to be at the first of the two board game social nights that are held for Asperger and high-functioning autism adults at the Asperger Autism Network headquarters in Watertown, Massachusetts. There is usually anywhere from 25 to 40 Asperger autism adults of all ages, 18 and older, all the way up to elderly, who attend these board game and social nights. And of course, I'm hoping to see my Asperger autism friend Angie there. Angie is a furry or a fan of anthropomorphic cartoon characters. Also see there was a Mark number 1, who drives in from Carlisle, Massachusetts, and also hopefully my Asperger autism friend Carl will be there. That's Carl with a K. He's a friend of mine who lives in Malden, Massachusetts. And we do play, some of us will play different board games, but I am into playing the apples to apples, which is the G-rated version, which is rated pretty much G, with it. But I also like to play the NC-17 rated game called Cards Against Humanity, which is very politically incorrect, and it also has a lot of stuff that is the game of Cards Against Humanity is a game which is has a lot of raunchy adult content, and of course we play that in the front conference room at the Asperger Autism Network. The the rear meeting room, as it is, others will play everything from chess to Monopoly to other games like that. And we also you also get set up one of the support staff officers gets set up as a video game room. Where sometimes I myself have played Nintendo Battle, and I've also played other video games, even though I myself do not own a up-to-date video game machine. All I have is a cheapy $30 knockoff of a old Atari 2600, which instead of using the cartridges, it has all about 60 of the old video games, shall we say, built in on dedicated read-only memory.
I think that worm is biological. Whether it's a complete fossil of bacteria,
and sometimes I have brought my retro Atari down to play some of the retro games like Asteroids and Missile Command and Centipede with some of my other Asperger Autism friends, especially those of the younger generation. One place that I would like to bring a bunch of Asperger Autism friends of mine is a place called the Pinball Wizard Arcade in Pelham, New Hampshire. The Pinball Wizard Arcade has a lot of the old original video game consoles, the big ones, that are dedicated to like Missile Command, Asteroids, Tank. There's different race car driving video games, that are like the 1970s vintage and 1980s vintage. Is it the video arcade? Is it games? And of course, for $5, they only get you like 20 game tokens to stuff in the machines. Or if you pay $10, you get 40 tokens. And of course, I said, that I'd like to bring a bunch of old video gamers, young video gamers, to this place called the Pinball Wizard in Pelham, which is on New Hampshire Route 38 in the Pelham Plaza Shopping Center near the Hannaford's supermarket. And of course, that I did, with it, not too long ago. I took and went out to the Asperger Asperger Autism Network, New Hampshire's Keene, New Hampshire social group, adult social group, where we did play. We did do a full 10-frame string of bowling. It was a couple Thursdays ago where I defeated 3 other autistics, and of course I was playing the bowling at a disadvantage because of my cerebral palsy, which affects my legs. Of course, my cerebral palsy is spastic diplegia, which means that my muscles are tight, and it's difficult for me to shift positions, and to walk, stand and walk, especially without my leg braces and my forearm crutches or my rollator walker. And I'd have to check the schedule for the Keene, New Hampshire social group, because the next event may be going miniature golf at the Twinkletown miniature golf and batting cages, which is just south of the Cheshire County Fairgrounds in Swansea, New Hampshire. And it costs $4 to rent a putter and a ball to play. I don't do too bad with miniature golf. I am gonna see whether or not the Danvers Massachusetts AANE adult social group is going to do miniature golf in Middleton, Massachusetts. Because me and the people who go to the Watertown group, I also meet at the sometimes at the Danvers group whenever I can, when I've managed to get down to the Danvers group. The Danvers Asperger Autism Network Adult Social Group meets at the North Shore Arc, at the center, which is right off of Massachusetts Route 1. That they play a lot of the same board games and so forth. When they have board game nights. And when they go bowling, the Danvers group, Massachusetts AANE Asperger Autism Adult, was a game night social group. When they go bowling at the bowling alley on Massachusetts Route 35 in Danvers, Massachusetts. And instead of being a 10-pin bowling, standard 10-pin bowling, which I've played at the with the Keene, New Hampshire adult social group. Was at the bowling alley in Danvers is just the candle pin type bowling with the smaller balls. But I whenever I've played the 10-pin, the standard 10-pin bowling, I've liked playing with the standard large bowling balls. And of course, when I've done bowling with the Keene group, I always make sure that I take and get the bowling ball, a couple bowling balls that have the finger hole, one of the largest size finger holes, that makes it easier for me to grasp and to take and manipulate and hurl down the bowling alley lane.
The rocks beneath the surface. We've seen places where water came to the surface and flowed over the surface, creating little ripples that are still.
And of course, I take and, as I said, I'm part of the Massachusetts chapter of ADAPT, which is a cross-disability civil rights organization. I also belong to the Autism Self-Advocacy Network, which is a civil rights organization for us autistics. And as I said, we meet with ASIN, the Autism Self-Advocacy Network. The Massachusetts or Central New England chapter meets now twice per month. And of course, I also have the social group. It's not really a social group, but it's really a support group, the Merrimack Valley Aspies Adult Support Group, where we meet at the Northeast Independent Living Program office in the city of Lawrence, Massachusetts. We meet on the first Saturday of every month from 2 to 4 p.m. And I am the facilitator of this group. So it's my group, my rules, which are all common sense rules about no disrespecting other people, no homophobia, no transphobia, no xenophobia based on religion, and everybody gets a chance to speak their mind and to share what is going on with them in their lives, and everything is kept within the four walls of the Northeast Independent Living Program conference room.
All of us are very hopeful that some places on Mars we could find hydrothermal vents.
I take my facilitating a support group very seriously. And of course, our group, the Merrimack Valley Aspies, is now firmly established, and we have already had 5 meetings. Our next meeting is on the first Saturday of June, 2 to 4 p.m. And if there are any other Asperger adults, or was it adults who are HFA or PDD-NO/NOS, you are invited to come to Merrimack Valley Aspies at the Northeast Independent Living Program in Lawrence, Massachusetts, on the first Saturday of every month. Well, that's all I have to say for tonight's, video weblog entry.